Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going to our second series of the day here on the C stream between BBT and, of course, the side of TSM. And it is MLP Dota and John X5 back for the Riyadh Masters group stages. Jonathan, we're on to a new series. BBT up against TSM. We kind of talked about it in the previous post-game matchup between Spirit and, of course, Nine Pandas. TSM, they are fighting for their lives in the Riyadh Masters to get to the playoffs. BBT have nothing to play for. They've already secured first place in the groups. They're in the best position they can ask for. So do they mess around, Jonathan? Do they run some experiments here against TSM, or do they play completely seriously and just try to really keep TSM down?
I feel like they'd experiment a bit, but they'll experiment and still crush it. Is what I'm expecting. Maybe like something we'd see from Shopify Rebellion and NA, although speaking of that team, they're also not doing too good. Unfortunately, our NA rep's not having the best of times here, Mike.
We just can't cast a region that does well, can we? Just SCA into NA, I don't know. Maybe you and I should cast Western Europe. Maybe that'll make it so things are a bit even. Maybe that will drag them down a little bit.
That should. Maybe at some point, Mike, but that's the reality right now. TSM, backs against the wall, not an easy opponent to close out here as well. I mean, bbteam they've been strong. They've been showing consistency. Toronto Tokyo does the most insane plays. All of them. Pure is just crazy on his offlane. Gets these solo kills every single time. And I don't know how you hold up against that if you're TSM. So we'll find out. Maybe something in the draft. Something different in the draft. See if those bans come out. TSM, take care of that Storm Spirit here. Will we get the Brood Mother ban, the Undying ban from either side? I think for TSM, if you watched any game last night from BBT, you would have to ban that Undying. It's just Toronto Tokyo is a maniac. You cannot play the game.
You certainly can. Let's see what they do. Storm being removed. Snapfire being removed. IO, of course, removed by BBT. One more ban to go. Maybe we just see an Undying removal here. Perhaps not. We'll see. I suppose against Whitemon, you are probably a little bit more concerned about supports like the Ench and the Chen. We know Whitemon does perform very well on. We'll see how they want to get things started. BBT still thinking about this second ban. There's just so many heroes, in particular supports to ban out these days. It's very, very hard to know exactly what you want to get rid of.
For TSM, they just respect ban all of GPK, right? Like he's been popping off in that mid snap. He's loved his Storm, so they just take both options away. Brood Mother's left, so TSM will pick it up for Kasane very early on, but this is something that we've seen TSM find a lot of success with. And you can't fault them for going back to what works. Mind you, a BBT, Mike, you've been saying they're guaranteed #1. It's not a guarantee. If they get 0-2'd here, and if Talon somehow 2-0's Liquid, I believe it's a tie for first. Although I'm not sure if that tie is resolved from the head-to-head. But not a guaranteed first seed. They are both guaranteed for an upper bracket start, no matter what. So I guess in the end, it doesn't really matter. It's all only really seeding, which I don't know how many teams really care for that. BBT get into the Undying and Naga Siren. So they've got the saves on hand once more. They've got these really oppressive lanes coming out. TSM into the Darkseer, so maybe shifting the Brood Mother away in terms of position. Maybe running a support Darkseer. I expected the side of BBT to be the ones doing something funky with their draft. Not quite expecting that from TSM here.
5 seconds remaining.
Neither was I, Jonathan. Neither was I. More bans to come. TSM focusing on the offlane right now of BBT. BBT, they'll just get rid of the Bat Rider. And TSM, a lot to play for themselves. Not so much about seeding, but more so about just surviving at the moment. Really sad to see as well, both NA teams are tied in 6th place for Group B.
Yeah.
Shopify right now playing against Team Asta, hoping for a win over them. NA fighting for their lives here in the final day of group stages.
So rough. What's the ideal? What's the NA copium here? The NA copium is Team Secret loses 0-2, and
Why?
Shopify and TSM at least draw. And then you can maybe have TSM and Shopify potentially tie-breaking their way out of the eliminations, right? That's for both NA teams, right?
Well, if they, yeah, they've got to start with a 2-0 each, I think. That'd probably be the primary
Yeah, they would
concern right
need
now.
fuel.
Yeah. Again, it's pretty challenging against the teams they have left, like Team Asta and, of course, BBT. Not the easiest teams right now to beat. Oh, the plan are going to be removed by BBT. One more ban for either side. Go on, John. What are you trying
I'm trying to
tell me?
remember if we've seen a Brawl Broodmother mid, or if we've seen a Tomato Brood. We've been calling for Tomato to play something like Harry Brood, and he does know what it can do. I believe we saw him play it once in the DPC, if I'm not recalling too bad. No, he played Lycan, so... Oh no, he played Abaddon, actually. So, I don't know about the Brood for Tomato. It can be something that kicks up pace really early on. If not, then if you run a Kasane Brood, you run what? An Ahri Darkseer? Broodmother Darkseer lane is pretty horrendous to deal with, to be fair. At the same time, it's also Broodmother Darkseer in lane, which means one of them's not going to get farm, and that's always a terrible feeling for either one. I don't know, like, this kind of opening, it's very different from TSM. Could throw BBT off their guard. But just starting with Noggin and dying, I think already sets a good tone here for BBT. They ban out the more annoying supports that both Ahri and Whitemon do play in the ET, the Chen, and the Batrider. And they've already got what should be our Pause 1 out from Nightfall, but I can honestly see BBT kind of flexing that Naga around. And they'll take the techies out now. They got themselves some pretty strong lanes already with these two supports, a lot of aggression early on. I don't mind it too much. Again, techies has taken the back seat for a bit, but some teams have remembered. The techies is still there, and they do pick it up.
They do. TSM, how are they going to respond to this? And if they want to, Rubik is available. It's not the worst Rubik game. Like, you've got Naga, Undying, and Techies to steal from. I think if TSM wanted to give that to Ahri this game, it wouldn't be such a bad idea, considering Ahri is a bit of a Rubik specialist. And they may feel like they don't have the greatest lane with the Darkseer Rubik, to be fair, though, if they did go down that route. The TSM, I'll have a bit of a deeper think about this one. Gonna reveal some supports now, I think.
Yeah. Gotta get away from this flex. I know, I have a weird feeling Ahri's gonna play Darkseer with Sane on the Brood. Go to Lion pickup. Could be our Ahri here, could be Whitemon. Either one still works.
I mean, I appreciate the new tech, but pause for Darkseer, you think? That's some new technology, John.
Very new. Again, if you think about Brawl, he loves playing jumpy heroes. He loves that mobility. He loves playmaking. You know, he loves his Spirit Brothers. He loves his Puck. Something like Primal Beast runs up as well. I think the Brood doesn't necessarily fit that playstyle. They'll go with the Spirit Breaker, so perhaps we do just get the mid Brood and the Kasane offlane Darkseer here, running Lion and Spirit Breaker as your supports. That's a little bit more bog standard. That can kind of get some early momentum going, like Darkseer and Spirit Breaker as a duo is already very strong. Surge plus charge, some nice damage coming through there. Some decent ways of handling the illusion spam here as well from TSM, what with your Lion, Mana Drain, and Hex, although you'd probably want to rely more on Mana Drain with Shard here. Spirit Breaker as well with a good charge, can kind of try to take control, but there goes the LC for BBT. The pure special comes out, and I mean, that's a great solution for everything. The illusion spam from Darkseer counteracted, so if you do get a Vac Wall, overwhelming odds will just... it'll be a happy time for Pure. The Spiderlings melt as well. You don't care too much about Silicon Bola in lane if you are expecting, say, a safe lane Brood here for Tomato, with a Brawl hero mid last pick. I like this. I think BBT's managed to find some really great solutions to what TSM's trying to do with their lineup, and it's directly in their comfort. Undying once more for Toronto Tokyo, Pure on his specialty, stable core coming out for Nightfall in that Naga Siren. It's all lining up, and they have last pick as well, so TSM's going to have to show that flex in the Broodmother first, potentially just leading to an even better matchup for GPK.
Final ban outs to come now. TSM. Still looking for a mid laner to ban out here for GPK. Who's to say we don't just see the Tomato Pos 1 Brood coming out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
you can get flexed. And that's why the LC still shines there. Because you just lane into the Broodmother lane. You've always got press the attack if you want a value point in it. You can kind of trade right clicks so you don't tend to get insatiable hunger. in your first 2 levels. So that's like a level 3 spell to pick up. So the LC just wins the right-click trades. Once the spider links are up, you can just clear out the spam. Anyway, you don't care too much on the LC. Like, it is fairly oppressive. This LC pick from BBT covers every base. If the Broodmother's mid, which you will see with TSM's last pick, like, they will show their hand first, you can adjust if you wanted to. You're probably not going to remove Pure on the LC, but if the lane works for it, you know, you could always gun for something else.
Final ban. Primal Beast was removed. Quap removed by TSM. One more ban to come from TSM. 17 seconds reserve time to think about this.
5 seconds remaining.
I feel like a puck would be fairly annoying for TSM to play into. You've got a Brood who wants to scurry in and out. You've got the Darkseer who wants to play with a Surge. Spirit Breaker who wants to dance around. Take care of the TA instead. So leaving that puck for GPK. Not the... You're very reliant on your line to land some control onto something mobile like the puck. Wonder if that is something BBT will want. I mean, they can also get messed up by a puck pretty nicely. It's a lot of aggression out from TSM if they do decide to run it for Bryle. They take care of the Pango instead. Removing more comfort here for Bryle. Not many options left on mid. Suppose puck is there. I don't know if you'll go with something too quirky on TSM, like Alina mid. It kind of helps you with illusions with your wave spam. Magical damage on hand. You can just look for the burst, but feels like you want something good for the backline. You kind of want to hunt this Undying. Necrophos.
Okay. We saw this the other day from, I think it was actually Kiyotaka, wasn't it?
It was
right.
GPK.
Oh, it was GPK, excuse me.
Yeah,
well,
in the Talon game, game 2, he did pick that up and just crushed mid. You don't see your matchup here, though, for TSM, and you are free to actually pick that Lina on BBT. Like, it's not anything weird like a first phase Ember turning into support like Talon did. You don't have anything quirky like that. You could easily go for a Lina, maybe even a Zeus, although you do have charge to kind of pick off those softer targets, but laning-wise into the Necrophos, it's pretty smooth. I wouldn't mind something like Lina, I think, for GPK. I think that works out pretty nicely. The puck still has a lot of value in terms of control with Dream Coil, but up against a Necrophos, it's not as smooth. Your harassment isn't as steady in comparison to what the Necrophos can get done. They have a lot of time here in BBT to think about it, though, but... And for TSM, the one factor with going with this style of draft is they didn't have last pick overall. So their hand is shown. It should just be the Tomato Safe Lane Brood. And, of course, the mid Necrophos for Bryle. And this is one thing as well. Like, with Bryle, we've never seen him really play the slowest heroes on mid. He's always played highly active heroes. Necrophos can somewhat be active. You have some good setups for your Reaper's Sight here and some early aggression, but again, like, someone has to stop Toronto Tokyo. Once that shard is up, Mike, Reaper's Sight being saved out by a Tombstone, you're not going to be happy.
We know how good he was. Toronto doesn't miss when it comes to this grab ally. He doesn't miss. This guy, he's on point. All those years playing mid, you know, he's still got those fast fingers. Even the pos 5 roll still can make it look very, very impactful. As EBT still thinking 8 seconds reserve time left for this final pick. What do they want against the Necrophos? It's going to be the DP. Oh, why the hell not? Just go back to a GPK special. I think the DP does decently enough against the Necrophos, you know? It might be one of those really boring lanes in the end in the mid lane, potentially. We'll have to wait and see, because we don't get to see Necrophos versus DP too often. But I dare say it is a pretty nice pick here for BBT.
And it is. It allows you a lot of push coming in here for BBT, which their draft did lack a little bit of. Still stable, additional wave clear to deal with the Broodmother. Highly durable frontline to play along with Pure when they do commit. And just a great lane matchup against Necrophos. This one does sustain pretty alright. Can't really leverage or siphon too well here on the DP. And when you gap close, he's always just going to spam those pulses out, but should be more manageable than other matchups. Much more manageable than, say, a puck. So I like this coming out from BBT. Overall, I would say that the draft of BBT is a little bit tighter. I just can't bet against a pure Legion commander, man. I can't bet against Toronto Tokyo and the Undying, even if things go southbound. Once you get that shard in Toronto Tokyo, if you don't kill the Undying, man, It's not gonna work.
I believe in TSM, Jonathan. I believe in them. I believe it can be done. You know, the mid Necrophos, the lion coming out. How can you go up against the Whitemon lion, Jonathan? You're a lion enthusiast yourself, and you dare go after them with BBT.
I know, but I'm just traumatized from what Toronto Tokyo did, you know? Like, if you don't kill him, what's the point of any of this single target burst? Just grab ally. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna break Tombstone on this lineup as well? Do you want Tomato to really run down a Tombstone as a Broodmother? Probably not. You don't have the fastest right-click in the world from the rest of your heroes. Brawl doesn't right-click fast, it's a Necrophos. Your Spirit Breaker doesn't have great attack speed either, so... I mean, I'm pinning this all down to Toronto Tokyo, but really just the draft. You've got the answers in the LC. You've got Push coming out here. It's not the cheesiest way of closing out for TSM. I think they have to really hit some early spikes. Apply that pressure early on with Tomato taking a lot of early activity and just try to get going there. Mind you, you also, to make your game easier here, don't give Pure any solo kills, because that's happened so many times when we've watched BBT. Pure just somehow finds these things by himself on a 1v1. Just don't give him that, if you can.
All skill, John. It's literally all skill. Just moment of courage procs. That's all he's doing. You know, it's Pure. He just knows. Like, if I'm stuck against 3 heroes and I've got no way out, I'm just manning up. I'm in LC. I'll do it. Here we go. Ward's down, but that was spotted by Ari. So that should be an easy D ward out for the side of TSM in the mid lane. They will not make it in time on the LC. So see TSM, I mean, very unique style of draft. I want to go back to the point you were making about Brawl's mid lane, because I do agree, like, he usually does play those high mobility, tempo setting cores in the mid lane. Not very often we see a slower hero like Necrophos. Kind of curious to see how he does on a hero like this.
Yeah, I think naturally the matchup isn't the worst. You've got Sustain of Guts and Sustain. As you said, this should just be a pretty boring mid lane matchup once it devolves down to it. Both sides just heal up, clear out the wave, and just play the lane, farm up. It's really by level 6 where you could see some activity, and again, it's down to the supports. I think if you look at the supports you have on TSM, the rotations from Alliance Spirit Breaker are pretty damn big. If they find a room to leave their side lanes, that's where things can happen.
Well, that spike did connect, but Tomato's been very slowed up with the blood grenade and the sticky bomb that was there, and Tomato, he's just gone. First blood already going the way of GPK in the mid DP. The perfect start for GPK. I'm sure Brawl's not going to be too happy seeing that. That's just going to mean a very quick bottle for GPK.
Just going to be able to play that sustain game very early on. And you know what? They gave an early tip out to Tomato as well. So they did target the guy down, instantly kill him as well. Sends a message here on BBT. The mid lane, and likely the most boring lane. Brawl can sustain true, but the DP can outrange and out-harass you with Crip in comparison to Death Pulse's range. GPK can stand further back and not cop the harassment back, which is not something the Necros likes. He's going to have to rely on some good last hitting and denies. Lane management big for the Necro to kind of even out this lane.
I'm on. I'm trying to play aggressively against Save, though Save, the techie, is going to be more than happy to continue trading harassment back his way. Top lane, Ari being paced just a little bit, trying to pull the wave away from Nightfall and Toronto Tokyo, who are trying to meet the creep wave. Now Ari stacking up a double, will happily let them meet. This way you'll just push the wave out back towards Kasane, though Kasane is just using Iron Shorts to create all kinds of shenanigans in the laning stage. This is just classic for Darkseer lanes, right? Like, you never know what's going on with the lane anymore. Just something's happening.
I think the one issue you do have here, the one issue you do have for TSM up top is that it is a double melee lane up against Undying. So if you clump up too hard, Toronto Tokyo will just punish you. He already manages to shove Sani all the way back, so he's not soaking any of that EXP. Still stuck at level 1, and the Iron Shell only becomes a threat by the time you hit level 2 Iron Shell at level 3, so it's gonna take a lot more to shove away Nightfall from farm. He's perfectly fine, even with the shenanigans. If he just farms up, you're happy on this knot.
Whitemon, he might be in trouble bottom lane. He'll be alright, he'll survive. Save had the blast off, but doesn't bother trying to go for it. You're at the stage, though, against the techies where you you gotta play so cautiously now because you know he's at the level 2 mark holding onto the blast off. And he's got the mana. Or both to be thrown.
Dire's top tower is under
Top lane, Kasane is just being casually chased by Toronto, who looks like he's just got the kill.
Radiant's
Toronto
top tower
Tokyo.
is under attack.
Doing Toronto Tokyo things just takes him out.
Yeah. Just, he knows they're going to be split apart. Ahri just shows up top, testing the creeps. So that means the Darkseer's just very alone. Still stuck at level 1 for Kasane, not getting EXP, not getting the farm he'd want. Finds a tombstone for his trouble at least, but not the kind of start you want with TSM with this draft. And they want to play up-tempo here. They've got the Brood core. They want to kind of take these fights early on. They've got the Necro that wants to scale up really fast. And off to a slow start with the Darkseer. That's one more here that might need to sit back and farm, and that's never what you want to see. See if some recovery can come out here, but Kasane, and he pulls again, but Toronto Tokyo just follows. Doesn't care.
My boy Toronto. I still remember seeing this guy for the first time back at ESL 1 Thailand, I think it was. This was quite a few years back. Remember QO was saying in particular that he thought this guy was going to be huge. Before he won TI, by the way. Way before he won TI. Happy to see how far he's got in Toronto Tokyo. Very, very happy about it.
Yeah.
Not so much QO though. QO's just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Who?
Exactly.
I miss that guy. I miss that guy though. He's a fun fella. I wish we got to meet. Down mid, a little bit of a chase. And this lane's, man, the most boring lane. Double bracer for Brawl means he shouldn't die anytime soon, but the siphon spam is there from GPK.
I mean, they might just have the kill.
Okay.
He's got Crypt Swarm. Yep.
Okay, that's it.
Yep. Bye-bye, Brile. And that's why DP's a good pick against Necrophos, because at the end of the day, Ghost Shroud means nothing. None of it really means anything. GPK just casually runs him down with 3 charges of Spirit Siphon. There was no play. He was just out of mana. There's nothing he could have done.
It's the most boring kill possible in mankind coming out mid. But that is that lane matchup. What's the most boring lane matchup next to that? Anything up against DK, I think, is the next most boring matchup. So at least a kill comes out in this one. DPK feeling great about himself, and BBT overall. Every lane just winning so much. Up top, another deep chase for the tombstone.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They're gone. Fine, in the meantime, dropping low bottom lane. Pure still trying to man up here. Meanwhile, top lane, nope, never mind. Whitemon's the first one to drop. There's side lane action happening all across the map right now. It's Kasane gonna get dived again by Toronto. Should go down to Nightfall and will.
He's...
So both the side lanes not working out too well for TSM as they do drop 2 more heroes. But this offlane is especially going quite badly for TSM. Like, Kasane's died twice. He's got 7 CS on Darkseer. That's how badly things have gone.
At this point, it doesn't feel very playable. It's going to take a long time for you to scale up here. 2 levels behind Nightfall as well. I mean, at the very least, you've got your level 2 Iron Shell. But, you know, we were talking about this potential to rotate with supports. Side lane's just losing this bad means you really can't leave them. Tomato drops down now. This is pure at level 4. They're collapsing mid for this, but how do you gank a DP at this point?
You don't. That's the neat part. GPK just forces him away.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
0-6 BBT's way. Just no gameplay here for Ahri. Like, this is one of the depressing kind of Spirit Breaker games to have to play in the POS 4 role. There's just no lane you can go to really secure a kill, it doesn't feel like, for Ahri. This is classic, one of my classic pub games, John. Just every lane gets lost. I've got nothing to do. Ahri's just running around in circles with Toronto Tokyo. Why not? It's like, what do you charge to? Like, you go bottom, you know Pure's just gonna man up. Whitemon's keeping mid. He's gonna try and defend his Necrophos, but Brawl's gonna be just fine. Problem is GPK now just gonna casually push in the T1 tower with the Tombstone protection. Toronto's just manning up, standing on the front line, so he may pay for it now. They'll charge through. They will land onto the Undying with the Reaper's Sight. They'll get him down, but GPK's the big problem. The Tombstone, well, it finally does expire. GPK at least takes Ahri with him. He won't stick around for the Tier 1 tower now, but it's a pretty good trade for BBT anyway.
That it is. You have to ensure that you don't lose anything in your side lanes with all that commitment. Kasane and Nightfall trading some very close blows. Good kill for Brile. At least you get the Reaper Sight on cooldown. You get a charge up. on your side as well. And you managed to secure your own wisdom rune with all of that commitment. So you're not losing out as much as you could have here on the side of TSM. BBT still in a commanding position though. And it's not, again, not the biggest lead in terms of net worth. You've managed to put a dent just a bit on Nightfall's farm. But once you start to lose towers here, that map space being choked out this early on, that's where things get scary. You're the team running the Broodmother yourself. You want to be the ones choking out. You want to be the ones to group around this Necrophos and this Brood and start to take these fights, but could still come online if they manage to hold out maybe by the 10-minute mark here. While at the very least having really strong rune control. GPK not getting lucky at all with any of the power runes.
Sane. Yeah, full surge, but they've got the body blocks now. Kasane, he's gone. Hands up, Nightfall will wave him goodbye. Bottom, in the meantime, Ari getting chased by GPK, who was going after Pure, but it won't be enough as Bryle has joined as well, but doesn't have the Reaper's Scythe, so GPK will just keep going. And he's going after Bryle now. Bryle will avoid the Sticky Bomb. Looks like he's going to be okay to survive. There's a thing with this DP, like, GPK, not only is he a great Death Prophet player, but it's a very free game for him thus far.
No early solutions for that regen. And no one that can naturally build you a very fast urn here. Ari's lane just a bit too slow. Not able to find anything. They were gunning for a duel here on BBT. They're trying to juggle around with his low HP. Doesn't find the opportunity. Could be at risk. Brawl does have the sight ready. If another rotation comes out. So if they find an opportunity on someone down mid, could be another nice pickup here for the Necros. Start to get some pacing here for TSM. 1 to 10, 2k lead for BBT. Well, there's your first to 10. That's really quick for BBT.
Yeah.
And for TSM, I mean, it's going to be slow going. They're going to need to just sit back, hit some spikes on Tomato. That could be a launching point for them once this Brood can start to play around lanes and take over one part of the map.
I really like the way GPK is playing this game. Like, Exo's back off cooldown, immediately into the tier 1 tower. We'll just take it prior to the 10-minute mark. No siege creep necessary. Opens up the map completely for BBT now, so those jungles on the Radiant side are not going to feel very safe for them. Opening up the side lanes as well for the Naga and the LC, as Brawl's going to find out the hard way not to mess with GPK at the moment. He's got the Ghost Shroud and the Reaper's Scythe. He might still be able to regen, but not quite. It's still too much damage. Like, you got Toronto, but you're going to lose just too much for this. GPK now 6-0-1. Meanwhile, at least they kill Pure. Tomato's going to take that. He'll hand the tip over immediately.
Yeah. Not quite a duel.
Oh, it was a duel.
At least.
Oh,
yeah, not a win, at least. Not a win. So, could have been worse for BBT, but some good punishments starting to come out from TSM. And they are starting to lose map control. Look at the vision here from the side of BBT onto the triangle already, right by the tier 2. They want to take control of that area, and they're starting to play aggressive around that area here.
Sane in danger again. He has not had a good start to this game, and now the mine's coming down, going to make it impossible for him to run south. Bye-bye, Kasane. Another kill for Nightfall. Whitemon. Oh, the run of Atos is up. EPK. It's so tough now. It really is. Like, with the timings on this DP, it's so hard to slow down the timings that the BBT have been looking for. So the game is just theirs to take over now.
Pretty much. I mean, you've got the freest lane coming out for Nightfall. Still keeping that aggression up top here. Ari.
Not sure what Ari was thinking. Trying to push out the creep wave, but it's pretty desperate kind of play. That's kind of the thing, though. Like, this Undying Techies duo, they're pretty strong at the moment.
They are. A lot of output coming through. And, we're just going to re-smoke. Not the healthiest mana from save, but they could try for a funky bait movement here. Oh.
Get ready for a tip. Here you go. Tomato is going to survive the duel. Maybe no tip from Pure, but no, there will be. Never mind. Who am I to say there's going to be no tip, John? It's Pure.
It is Pure. I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, what are you talking about? How could he not tip?
As long as he's not all tapping. It's alright. Pure. Charged on, he's going to be fine. Alto Nokia. Tombstone down. Bryle, again, with the shield rune, at least surviving for now. But there's the blast off. He's running out of HP rather quickly, but will survive for a little bit as he has the Reaper's Sight looking for it onto the techies. He can't
Not
get
enough.
it. Save's gonna survive. Finally goes down. Brian will find both of them. It's okay. He's still got the kills, John. He'll still make it.
He'll make it out. He has his own Athos for some control now as well. And the stat padding's starting to feel pretty strong in the next post, but you don't find the big one onto GPK. At the very least, you find Pure for one more time. And again, you're starting to get some spacing out here for TSM. They've got room up top for Kasane, managing to get some recovery going on that Darkseer. You have fully transitioned into just farm here for Nightfall. And he has taken over that triangle. And they've got the vision game here on BBT to just enable some of this farm stealing here. Full Manta up. Mage Slayer not too far off for Nightfall as well. These early timings on Naga, it's just going to be so hard to deal with. Whereas you're not close to any of that for Tomato. Echo Saber's going to fly out now. That's one launching point, but it does feel like he's going to need more stats to really start to apply his presence here on the Brood.
Well, at least you got the Echo Saber off. That's something. Tomato. Still a lot of work to go, that's for sure. Much more pressure you can apply as BBT. All the tier 1 towers are almost gone. I mean, the top one is still alive, just barely. Yes, why not? Exo? Boomstone? Enough? 14 minutes, it might feel a little bit early, but if you can get away with it, why not? And they will.
Makes the extra system usage, but this is all done without their Naga as well. In that time, Nightfall's still farming with the Storm. TSM smoke out with no forward information, so they have no idea where to go for this gank. They just get Roche stolen under their noses. It's that secondary life up for GPK. It's gonna be a very hard target to try to pin down. A 7k lead out for BBT and TSM. Maybe they find his top tier 1. Certainly not the best trade for that objective, but at this point, BBT, they're in control. Blink up for Pure. Should be easier for him to start finding some duel wins now if he sees the backline.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He's yet to win a duel, which is pretty rare for Pure, not finding a duel by the 15-minute mark at least. So there's that going for you. TSM will get the top tier 1 by the looks of it. There'll be no defense to come from BBT. EP's down towards the bottom lane, just ready to defend the creep wave, but BBT are still hanging around this area. Ryle just about to walk into vision. Oh, he's going to show on the creep wave. This is not good. This is not good. BBT are going to jump in straight away with the duel out, but a nice Earth Spike. White ready for it. Does save the life of Brawl, but not quite. Brawl is still going to go down. TSM, 3-man silence from GPK. He just chases him. Ari, he's going to try and fight with the Nether Strike. He's got the Aegis, but Pure looking to clean up, just blinking right behind. Finds a double. Won't be able to lock down Tomato. Meanwhile, Nightfall kills off Kasane, who was creep skipping. And it looks like that tier 2 bottom tower probably going to be pretty free for BBT to get started on. Unless they just don't want it. And it seems like they don't. They'll just go back to farm instead.
Yep. No extra system for a little bit of time here. So, just want the build up. They're ahead. 10k up, 5 to 21. TSM, and trying to hold out the best they can. They do have the output on burst if they focus in their resources, but it's a pretty hefty cooldown, especially on Whiteline. That Finger of Death just takes so long. That's 90 seconds where you don't have to worry about that burst. You could try to make a play up top, but you do cancel off that charge. It's really down to Bryle, and really just get these teams going. They're the most active heroes right now.
GPK can move on to Bryle. Bryle getting it jeweled up before the Ghost Shroud does come out. Can they kill him in time? They certainly can. Pure picking up his first duel victory of the game now. Plus 18 damage. Happy days for him. Not that he really needs it. Head. They are well and truly in control of this game 1. TSM, the ones that need to buy much more themselves to be ready. BT not slowing down anytime soon. Maybe the hotel buffet might be closing soon, John. They'll need to hurry up a little bit.
Perhaps, Mike. They do look rather hungry on BBT. Hungry for a win. I think the one issue you have with TSM in this draft, right? You look at this Broodmother of Tomato. It's not able to take over any part of the map. It's not denying map control away from BBT. It's farming up a storm, for sure. But even then, it's nowhere near close to the build-up you've gotten on BBT. And again, it's just not denying map space. So even though you're farming on this pause 1, where the Brood really shines is taking control of the enemy jungle. Taking those resources away from the enemy team. And BBT has free access to their own jungle. They even have access down bot. Like, it's just not enough. This presence from Tomato has been rather limited, which is why, with TSM in particular, I feel like this hero just works a lot better in Kasane. But they go for that Darkseer pick. They try to flex it around. Tomato is not able to play this active core as much, and the scaling can be there, but when it comes down to your scaling up against a Naga, I'm not fully confident in the Broodmother and kind of taking over there. And you will keep up in damage, but you're aligned and really just aligned to clear out illusions. Maybe some good charges from Ahri could save the Yags down the line, but doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. It's going to be a little bit awkward, even if Tomato somehow equalizes in farm.
Ahri? Charge up north. It's going to be cancelled anyway. Not too big of a deal. I thought maybe he was going to try for something. Boom. Taking their time. I mean, you've almost got a Kai Assange completed on GPK. TSM just very close to finishing the BKB, at least of Tomato, but now you look at the Heart of Tarask available on Nightfall. Bottom lane, they might find out the hard way he's got this up. Nightfall looks to move in. Nightmon. Be able to back off. That tier 2 bottom tower, it's open for the taking. I mean, BBT, they have no reason to leave.
They'll just get to work on it. No need to even commit any of their big spells either. GPK can hold on to the Exo for the next fight. Going for his BKB on that EP. So the instantaneous burst blade from TSM not going to be something that they can repeat. And just map control slipping away. TSM playing where they can. Trying to take some space up top. Just passive. Again, this lineup, when you look at the heroes you have, this is not a lineup that wants to play passive. But they have no room to play aggressively. They're just too far behind, and they do have decent high ground defense for TSM. You've got the Vac wall. You've got Earth Spike, multiple hero charge in with that Vac wall. There's some wombo combos that can be done, but I know it's 14k behind. Once BKBs are up, even that's kind of out the window here.
It's another BKB. Pure will pick one up. I mean, double damage is nice for Tomato. I'm not sure if it's going to make the big difference, but he's going to try. Off the back of his BKB, they will give it a crack. They've even got the Crimson Guard of the Darkseer, but they were scouted with the mines, so BBT should be very well aware of where they are with that smoke. And so they are going to go for their own smoke. As for, GPK will TP into the tier 1 tower and join. BKBs or not, I don't see Nightfall dying very easily. Here we go, Bryle, immediately the first one caught. That is not the start you were looking for. Not as TSM. Tomato, he's still going to try out the GPK, but just look how tanky he is. He's just not even close to dying. Tomato running with the double damage, cannot do anything to help his team. Has to watch them fall. Ahri at least has found save, but Kasane and Whitemon are both gone. And Ahri, he will be no different. Godlike for GPK. Is it high ground time?
I would think so for the side of BBT. You mentioned force out a lot. Wall down as well. That's a big defense team fight for TSM gone. GPK will just pressure a little bit, but looks like they want to clear the map out completely. 6-26, BBT in complete control. And start to finish, they've been in control. For TSM, they got red, right? Like the mines give the information on that smoke out. The scan fails to hit. They don't expect the smoke back from BBT off the back of that proximity mine going off, but they just make use of every advantage here on the side of BBT. They know where you're going, boom. They smoke back in an angle you don't expect. And, you can't afford to lose Bryle that fast. He needs... Feels like Bryle's gonna need something like a BKB of his own, but I'm not gonna save him from the duel.
I'm on with a nice hex, but it's not gonna make the difference. The duel is out. Secure will secure. Radiant Triangle, Bryle. He'll go for Automatos in Toronto. Nightfall's coming in from the rear though. Ryle might need to leave, so will Tomato, because Tomato's taking too much damage. He'll leave the area with his BKB, but Ryle cannot do the same. Ari at least TP's up. They've got the Spirit Breaker and the Brood Mother out of there, but you're at the state of the game where there's just no fighting BBT. There's no option. Like, the next time EXO's up, you just go high ground as BBT. I think that's the only chance TSM has now to try and pull off a comeback is a nice high ground effect.
And again, they've got the spells, back wall, plus a 5-man charge crew. If they manage to back everyone, a good Earth Spike here from Whitemon could be enough control, but they're just too tanky. Where's the damage supposed to come out? A finger and sight onto one takes care only of one target, and leaves still a lot of room for the rest of BBT to clean up elsewhere. Take one Tormentor, instantly TP's back, not looking to pressure too hard. They take one more Tormentor. They basically get themselves their free shard up for Toronto Tokyo here, so now you've got the grab ally entombment in play. So even that combination of sight finger, if Toronto Tokyo's, well, he actually doesn't get lucky here. Just a pure. Rather unfortunate, but you know, if you did have your shard, even that sight and finger play just disappears, and you will find that shard eventually here.
Bloodthorn now available on the Naka. This is me. Nightfall's going straight for the Nullifier next. That's if Brawl wasn't having a bad enough game as it was in the Necro, it's only going to get worse with all these items coming out. I'll charge the DP Illusion. EPK, I mean, it looked like the Illusion took no damage, as now they've got Braille. Silence will be out into the Necrophos. They've not cut it yet, BBT. They'll go for the D-Wards first. Nice and concise, and TSM may need to get out, because they are looking to initiate here, BBT. They've got more vision on the south. That southern cliff is where TSM want to try and fight around. The BBT are very well aware that they've probably got vision there, so they'll instead retreat towards the Roshan pit. And there is no vision for the Radiant around this area. This might be a very free Roshan for BBT if TSM do not hurry up and try to contest.
Yeah, they don't have time. It's gone. It's too quick. It's gone. Radiants can't fall flat as well. They can't top. Gosh, it's daytime.
Ouch. I mean, it was daytime at least. Maybe they were just scanning the twin gates. Whitemon. Will at least delete some illusions. Let's spike out. Charge in. Ari gonna try and hold down Pure on the LC. McBrow jumping in. Ghost Shroud is there at least in the nick of time, but they've still just held him down and taken him out. Buyback is there. This could be the final team fight, I think, for TSM, as they're going to lose Kasane. Tomato's still rushing forward. Here comes Brawl again with the buyback. Gets the Reaper Scythe on GPK. He has buyback available if he needs it. But it doesn't seem like he will, because Nightfall is still completely uncontested. There's your buyback from GPK. On the Necrophos they go, just locking Bryall down, even fighting Tomato now. I mean, they've got support buybacks on TSM. It just doesn't seem like it's going to make a difference here. Tomato, also caught, will go down. Buybacks available. But I believe they might be thinking about calling it at this stage, TSM. Pure. Looking for Ari, not going to be able to get him. But Julie's up in 4. Looks like he's going to try. Blink is up in 3, and he may not even need the blink in a moment as Ari all the way. He's alright. Nightfall could not catch him.
You're getting space to push in though. Already pushing in on the bot. We've got the creep wave and the damage ready with GPK around. TSM. If that wasn't the last moment, this has to be close to it. You need to just wait out. Get that back wall. Try to get a combination off somehow.
C3 tower gonna go down, charge out onto Pure, but Ari, he's in the middle of nowhere. Still be able to walk towards the north. Instead, they'll go after Whitemon on the Lion. Turn is down. Whitemon will be able to retreat thanks to the surge of Kasane. That Rax is just freely being taken by BBT. Seems like there's just no stopping them. And a strike onto Toronto. They want the Undying down, but he just casually walks out as Nightfall jumps in on the Lion. Whitemon really copping it. Now the Jul and Kasane locking down the Darkseer. That'll be a second down. They will buy back on Kasane at least. Try one last time. for their lives at Riyadh. BBT still looking very healthy, let me tell you, John. They didn't look like they took no damage. With that, Autobrax is gone. Toronto will be charged. Still able to just get away with the Soul Rippers. Now Bryle is caught. Hands up from Nightfall. He takes down. And that's it. GG is called.
Yeah, that was a fast one from BBT. Not quite the fastest we've seen, but they had complete control. Start to finish, 8 to 38. 31k lead for BBT. And for TSM, I feel like a lot of their issues were from that draft. Right? Like, you open up with Broodmother, then you go for the Darkseer, so you start to reveal that you're not going to be running the mid Brood, and Tomato and the Brood just didn't have that impact. Now, every lane did go the way of BBT, to be fair. That first blood onto Tomato would just set up for a really hard time for Brawl on a matchup that's already not the best for the Necrophos, but I don't know. Like, I didn't like this flex coming out from TSM. Like, when you think about Tomato again as a core, at least from most of his time in NA, DPC, and from what I've seen in Dream League and some of the majors, it's that he does love to play farming cores. You know, Terrorblade's one great example. He gets some tempo in, but he goes back and takes his own map space. The Brood, it feels like, needed to take over some part of the map. He didn't have control in his bot jungle. He couldn't invade the top jungle. That just meant BBT were shoving the Broodmother away from potential farm, getting more farm for themselves, and just able to apply that pressure. Like, there's just nothing to stop that from BBT in this game.
Certainly not. Props to BBT. A very clean game, as expected from their end of things. TSM, sadly, trying to experiment a little bit to give themselves a decent shot against this side, but seemingly just completely outclassed here by BBT in Game 1. Yes, Game 2, like, for TSM, maybe you just go back to a more standard draft that you're used to playing. You know, maybe that's the idea, is just have a draft that you're kind of your bread and butter, right? Hope for the best against BBT, but I can't blame them for experimenting with their drafts a little bit, you know, trying to run something a little bit different. I think if there was one hero I'd change personally, it's probably the mid-Necro. That just went pretty atrociously for Bryle. You know, apart from a couple nice Reaper scythes, it certainly did not have the impact I was hoping for personally, John, as you are seeing BBT just running down TSM, completely annihilating them in this team fight. It's kind of the thing, like every team fight we saw from this game, it just felt like BBT might lose one support, if that. And then everyone else on TSM was just dead.
Pretty much. I don't know, I don't think the Necro itself was the issue. It's that, really, like, your side lanes went so badly. Toronto Tokyo running down Kasane, finding some solo kills on the Darkseer. Tomato not being able to free farm with his matchup, and you ended up with a Brood versus LC, which is pretty rough. Even in the laning phase, it's not the best for Brood. Honestly, all things considered, Bryle was the only guy who had the game. He was the only guy that was actually doing something on the map. So, I think the Necro was an okay idea, but it's really just the side lanes. I don't know what went up with TSM, but it did fit what they wanted. I can't fault them for top. I think they just got outplayed with Toronto Tokyo's positioning, but certainly for Tomato, it felt a little bit less comfy for him on the Brood. Probably wants a stronger win condition. Again, as you mentioned, maybe something more in line with what we tend to see coming out from TSM for the next game, but there's just so many issues to worry about from the side of BBT. If you give Toronto Tokyo Undying, it feels like it doesn't matter what the matchup was. Mind you, that matchup was atrocious. It's double melee into Undying. And it needed like level 3 for you to have pressure there with level 2 Iron Shell. So the timings were a little bit too late. Just look for stronger lanes. I think that's the one big thing I want from TSM. Stronger lanes, stronger duos, and try to bring back some of that aggression as well. And have Bryle, ideally in that scenario, have a much more mobile here to set up for you.
I'd agree. Well, with that, John, we are going to head off to a short break. And right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2 between BBT and TSM. We'll see you all again very soon.
تستمتع وتلاقي الوجبة جاية على الأصول. واو يجيك العيش هش طالع من الأوفن والدجاج يقرمش just the way I love it. وتسوي كده وتسوي كده وتسوي كده مع الحشمة. وإن تبغى راب خفيف أجيب تويستر. أنا تجيب لي وجبة بس كله يجيب اكسترا تشيز على الكرانشي تشيكن في السنتر. حطلب باكت حطلب زنجر حطلب مايتي حطلب تويستر. جيب له باكت جيب له زنجر جيب له الأصلي جيب له تويستر. Delicious. Yeah, yeah.
I had a say where I'd run to, where I would lay, if time bent to my will, if I could decide where I should remain, where I would hide. Sure as the sun, come rain or shine, I know where I belong. If time were to stand still, if I had a say where I'd run to, where I would lay, if time bent to my will, if I could decide where I should remain, where I would hide. If time were to stand still, sure as the sun, come rain or shine, I know where I belong. Sure as the sun, come rain or shine, I know where I
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going into our game 2 between TSM and, of course, BBT very, very soon. It is MLP Dota and John X5. Jonathan, welcome back, sir. Game 1 was a bit of a one-sided affair, to say the least. I think we can all agree BBT had complete control over that game number 1 the whole time. Where do we need to see things change up for TSM to try and give them a chance at least drawing this series?
I think just stronger lanes coming out. That's what was lacking in game 1. Both side lanes got crushed pretty badly. Riyadh's lane, the only one that was a little bit more stable, but even he got picked off by GPK and the chase down by level 5. So, just stronger lanes. If you do go for the Brood, I want the Brood to have more presence here as well. It was just not really notable coming out from Tomato. Couldn't take over any portion of the map, couldn't deny farm away from the side of BBT, and BBT just got everything going. You know, freest game that we've seen for Nightfall. Maybe a little bit more challenging for pure and fighting duels, but doesn't matter as they were crushing everything else, still finding these kills. So, stronger lanes for TSM. I think for BBT, they just drafted the way they do again. Should just be fine. No major adjustments, no real mistakes being made in the last game, outside of maybe some overextensions coming out, but overall, nothing of consequence, really. So, it's really down to TSM to adapt here. And again, a win has to come out for TSM if they want to maintain some hope. You'd want to draw, otherwise you'd be putting your hands in the Shopify Rebellion and Aster series and hoping to goodness that your comrades in Shopify Rebellion also get 0-2'd somehow. So if you get a draw here and the Aster SR series goes southbound for SR, TSM is just straight in. And if you get a draw here, if Astra and SR draw, then you have a tiebreaker. But a draw feels like the minimum that you need to find here for TSM.
And spoiler alert, by the way, I'm sure you're already aware, John, but the game 1 between Astra and Shopify is still going, so we won't know what's going to happen with that quite yet. I was trying to get a bit of an update while this draft screen was coming up, but yeah, they're what? How far into the game are they? I'm trying to look. I'm very blind, Jonathan. Very blind. Never mind. I'm not even going to try and come up with the time. It's gone.
It is going. It's 35 minutes in. There you go, Mike. I checked.
Thank you, John.
I checked. 35 minutes in. What we're freshly into is this draft for game 2. BBT up against TSM. IO and Tim being banned out by BBT. TSM just taking care of the Brood themselves this time and the Storm. So leaving that GPK Snapfire. I wouldn't mind it as a snap pick here for BBT. I think a first phase snap has always worked out for BBT. There's very few matchups that GPK can't work out with the Snapfire. They're going to take their time in thinking. Maybe they could secure themselves the Undying once more as well. Would be one way to go about here for BBT, as those options have been left in the pool. But I'm rather surprised TSM ban out the Brood. Yes, it's a top priority ban. It's a really annoying hero. But you leave stuff like Pure LC, which a lot of teams have been first phase banning. You leave out the Snapfire, which you banned the last game on TSM. We'll see. BBT actually digging into the reserve time, trying to figure out what's the priority here.
They are. Like you said, Snapfire, Undying. They're going to go down the Undying route, it seems, to get things started. So that'll be the Toronto Tokyo hero coming out once again. TSM, in the meantime, they will snap pick the Snapfire right into the Batright. It's a bit more stock standard with their draft so far, which is something I appreciate. I don't think there's too much need for experimentation. Just go back to some comfort.
Yeah. Should be a support Batrider coming out here from Ari. We've seen the impact he has on lanes for that. And more than likely a Briled Snap mid. So BBT prioritize that Undying. They give up the Snap. You've got an easy way to deal with the Tombstone as well. Although the grab ally is still going to be annoying, but not as annoying as it could be, with some clear coming out here from TSM. For BBT, it's just a matter of looking for a lane matchup now up against the Snap. Like, again, for the most part, the Snapfire does crush a lot of its lanes, but GPK, normally he picks something like Storm. Even though, again, Storm also doesn't have the best of times against Snap. No option for that. Into the puck he goes instead, which is pretty stable up against Snapfire. You stand far back enough. You're hard to pin down. Trying to catch a puck with Cookie is a tall order. You're likely looking for some fog plays for that, so GPK shouldn't be pressured too hard up against the Snapfire lane. You're tying in some team fight now on the side of BBT and just looking for decent lane matchups. So a stronger start for TSM, I would have to say. I think Snapfire overall, it's just such a high priority. Just does so much as the game scales on. Every point of the game this hero is relevant. Let's see how it does shape up here. BBT, take care of that TA and take care of the Darkseer side of TSM. Ban out the LC from Pure. They can start to focus in on that offlane a little bit more. There is some other stuff here, though, like something like the Enchantress is still available for BBT if they leave that in the pool.
See how they do go. I mean, for now, more bans to come. Sam
5 seconds remaining.
may just start respect banning all the pure heroes here. You're just, you give him these. I don't think you can really, stop Pure from getting whatever the hell he wants. Like, you might spend the whole ban phase banning out offlane heroes, but I still feel like Pure's just going to have a hero that he can really destroy. BT very versatile with their players. So it's very, very hard to ban all their heroes out instead. So not wanting to hand that over to Nightfall. We'll see the Lycan being removed, so no Kasane or Tomato Lycan to come out here for TSM. We saw Tomato playing POS 1 Lycan in the 2 or 3 of the DPC, if I remember correctly. Was that that?
Have a lot of fun with that hero. I think we got the post-game interview with him as well. It's like, yeah, I love universal hero types. Give me Abaddon, give me Lycan. Yeah, so fun.
Yeah. That was about right. That is about how that conversation went, actually. It's quite not bad. Maybe just keep focusing on the Nightfall heroes. You still have options like the Tide to ban out that we know the offlane of BBT does go for. If they just wanted to get rid of the Tide.
Yeah. Be a safe one to ban out. Again, maybe you're worried about something like the Ench. Although, a real reason to kind of worry about that here. You do leave a lot of supports in the pool here for save. Techie's still available once more. I think dealing with Techie's Undying is just overall a very hard time once these two supports can't connect with each other. Makes it much easier to run down, soften targets, lots of bursts on Techies. What else is there? There's just so much you have to consider here. I suppose for TSM, they have a lot of Tomato heroes left in the pool. Like with a snap bar, you could arguably make this into a Faceless Void game for Tomato if you wanted to go that route. That could be one way. You could also go for a Bloodseeker. They do ban out Yusa, so no option for that. And into the Clockwork they go. Just securing some good gank potential on TSM. A lot of forward movement with Bat and Clock. Hookshot Cogs into Kisses is going to be a stable way to find some pickoffs. Although finding that onto a puck is still a bit of a tall order, but certainly a possibility if you manage to time your spells right here on the side of TSM. And I like seeing that. It's a good change of pace, it's some more aggression, it's some stronger lanes. With a Clockwork pickup as well for TSM, there's always a chance for something like maybe a Tomato Drow could come out. That here has been a little bit more dormant, but Tomato has managed to pick it up a couple of times here in Riyadh.
Radiant team pick.
He has. The Morphling will be the pickup for BBT. Hasn't been quite as popular as of late, but BBT is still feeling confident in their ability to carry with this Morphling. Do bring it out. Fourth pick for themselves, BBT. They can go right into it.
10 seconds remaining.
Still another support to be picked as well. They could just go for the position 4 of save. You brought up the Ench earlier, which we haven't really seen save being picked up much, but I would love to see that, but no, it's going to be back to the Tech. To be fair, he's consistently playing a great Techies game, so it's not too surprising that they want to just run that again.
Yeah, again, you connect with your Undying at some point in these team fights, Decay softens them up, your output all of a sudden on the Techies isn't ridiculous. With the Blast Off, with the Proximines down the line.
5 seconds.
So I like seeing that come out. There's stable lanes coming out for BBT. This Morphling Undying lane is pretty interesting. You can play it rather defensive with an early Soul Rip, but you can just run down as well early on. The Morphlings here that has gotten buried from the last patch. It certainly did get quite a handful of nerfs, but I suppose even just playing it as a core, it's pretty nice into Snap. TSM will go for the Enigma, which we've not seen at all today, after seeing it quite a fair bit earlier on in the groups. That should be our Sani hero in the off lane. So you're running an Enigma Batrider lane potentially. Potentially here, it's not the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of good early pressure. There's no support here from the side of BBT that will be able to cancel off the Black Hole. Once a BKB is up, you're going to be in pretty good hands here for the side of TSM, but they picked the Enigma into the Undying, Mike. It's so funny to say that, but you've always got at least one save here on BBT.
That's true. That is very, very true. We've seen it so many... What was the series we saw that? That was Toronto...
That was Talon.
Oh,
that was Talon, yes.
I keep bringing that one up, don't I, John?
Yes, yes. It's forgettable. It's a forgettable team anyway. Who
Oh,
cares about them?
come on, John.
At least they start in the upper bracket. They can take 2 series before going to the airport.
Yeah, you're gonna...
Radiant team ban.
You're gonna be one of those parents one day. Just, just never happy. Just, Dad, I came second, Dad. Doesn't matter. You're first
My
loser.
second. Yeah, exactly it. That's how I was raised, Mike. You know? See how I ended up.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
I feel you, John. Don't worry. My parents were always more mad if I was second instead of third or fourth. They're just like, you came second? You let yourself come second? Disgusting.
I do remember those stories, Mike.
Yeah. The kids these days, they wouldn't understand. These youngins. ABT.
No. We're different times, Mike.
45 seconds reserve time left. Still looking for a position 1 to ban out for Tomato. getting rid of the micro here as it seems. Just, obviously, Naga has been quite popular, to be fair, so not too surprised to see that banned out.
It's only really two heroes I see that fit in here. Either the Bloodseeker or Drow for TSM. I think that's the only two viable options they have. If you'd have to ban one, you'd probably take care of Bloodseeker more. I think the Drow is a little bit manageable. Morphling can gap close, Puck can gap close, Techies can blast off. Instead, they take care of the Bloodseeker, which is fair enough, as it does make the game a little bit more awkward for your Morphling. You can start to wombo combo and control up the Puck. TSM just taking care of, again, the pure heroes. You call the Tidehunter. They take care of the Doom as well. Will it be for good old Pure on the off? It's going to be laning again with the Techies. I mean, your Ench is still available. I don't think that's too bad. Maybe not the most amazing here. You do have the magic damage to deal with an Ench.
5 seconds remaining.
You've got no real reason for an Axe. Maybe a Pudge could be useful. Just having a wave pulling, if you're not caught in the black hole, pulling back and dismembering on Enigma could be one way to cancel black hole, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's a stable front line as well.
There you go. Well done, Jonathan. I was about to say,
you.
I think that was a great. I thought it was a great prediction. Well done. That's why we started paying you now, John. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. Oh, thank you. I love this tournament so much.
TSM. Final pickup.
5 seconds remaining.
You can thank the doctor for that one, Jonathan.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Doctor.
15 seconds left for this one. TSM backs against the wall. Need a carry for Tomato. Against the Pudge. Against the Techies. What is he feeling comfortable with?
It's either Drow or maybe something like the Faceless Void. They go with the Drow.
Jesus.
All right. Again, it was only Bloodseeker and Drow that I think fixed this lineup because you've got the Lockwork in lane. So this is all right. I think this plays into how TSM plays individually a lot better. You've got some jump from BBT to take care of the Drow. Again, you've got a Puck that can gap close, a Morph that can gap close. You've got a Pudge with a Blink that Pure does enjoy building into to also gap close. The lane should be pretty stable for Tomato, all things considered, unless he cops a couple of blast-offs. But beyond that, the Drow should be able to space itself out to manage the lane. And I think that should lead to a better start for TSM. It should be a lot more playable in the side lanes. You should be able to ramp up. You can be confident in your Drow farming, and Kasane is the one that I'm curious about. What kind of item buildup you'd want on the Enigma is always the question. Like, we've seen some Atos Enigma, we've seen a lot of Dominator Overlord Enigmas. We haven't seen too much of the Aura Enigmas, but again, in Bali, that was coming out a little bit more. So I want to see what Kasane is going to be cooking up there. But again, overall, much more bite coming out from TSM. I would not count BBT out. I think in terms of draft, it's more even. I would lean slightly towards BBT just because you've got two saves, Mike. You got the Undying Tombstone and the Dismember from Pure.
Yeah.
So if you're banking on these big wombo combos from Kasane, if you don't catch the Undying or the Pudge, you might not kill anyone. And we saw that yesterday, and that is a very painful way to lose out in fights.
Let's see how it all pans out. They've got their backs against the wall here, TSM, so it's all kind of on the line here to try and tie out this series 1-1 and give themselves a chance at getting to the playoffs here at the Riyadh Masters. This game 2 has officially begun, so we can kind of head over to that and see exactly what is going to happen. The Drow, I don't know how much I personally believe in it. I know it's a good lane, but he should have a decent laning stage at least. But we'll see if it does pay off in the late game. This Clock Drow is a super strong laning stage. Even against the Pudge Techies, I still think the Clock Drow should have an advantage. Keyword is should.
Feels like it should. Feels like it should. I feel like there is outplay potential here on the side of BBT. So it's not going to be as straightforward. But if you bully the Pudge level 1, level 2, that's where things can get awkward for Pure. You can only really feel safe in that lane with at least a value point in Flesh Heap. And even if you do manage to isolate the Pudge, like if Save just comes in and pops some of that damage as well, your chances are you could actually kill the Clockwork in the counter engage. So some back and forth there.
30 seconds
And
to battle.
I think the key thing I'd like to see for TSM is just make Tomato comfy. Let this guy farm up in the Drow. The last game he had to be more active because he was playing Brood. This time on a hard carry, you do want some map space given up to him, and you want Kasane to be the one to kind of clear out and force some issues here onto BBT.
So much meat, so little time.
TSM going to try and fight over the top bounty, but it seems like BBT are moving in. They've got the hook on Pure. And one. It was a guaranteed kill. And find one, Whitemon. Oh, he's going to get hooked. And they get him. Sticky Bomb is going to slow him up. He's running out of range though, so BBT not able to get the job done. Nice attempt. It's still a 2 for 2 on the bounties anyway. Nightfall was able to secure both bottom bounty runes himself. But nothing really of value is lost. Apart from, you know, Whitemon losing half his HP pool, but that's about it.
Yeah, you don't mind too much. Whitemon has enough tangos to kind of eat through, although he'd probably want to ferry another set out. Still looking like they're starting with early tri-lanes up top. Toronto Tokyo still hanging around the area here.
On. Come out, Tomato, Whitemon. They're going to move on to Pure. Pure, he's a bit of a tanky boy right now, but actually misses the hook. Point blank, Whitemon able to sidestep him. Problem is, Whitemon may still just be dead. And he is. Trilane vs Trilane is nice, but against an undying Techie's Punch, I don't know if this is going to be the play.
It's not going to be too sustainable. Curious to see if they maintain it. I mean, Whitemon can't really go anywhere else, and he will TP up top. And one issue you are seeing for BBT is this is a little bit rougher for Nightfall. Level 1 Morphling up against Enigma is rather slow. He'll try again onto Pure.
This time it might be Pure's getting a bit too low and really has no way out of this one. He is going to drop. Nice pickup, nice trade, as now Toronto getting a bit too aggressive himself. Does stick charge, but not enough to survive. TSM trading back the other way now. If you're BBT, you just want this level 2 on Toronto. Once the tubes... Oh, hold on a minute. Pure straight up with the hook out of the fountain, but now Save's in trouble. Save. Can he make it? No, he cannot. Save is going to die. Nice hook from Pure, but it cost him, an ally.
Yeah, cost him a kill. You're more than happy now on TSM. This tri-lane already paying off dividends with that kind of movement out. Toronto Tokyo does break out the tri-lane. Does head out bot, where the Enigma solo in the duo lane does start to feel a little bit awkward. Wondering when Ari does decide to take that trip to the gate. But now still maintaining that tri-lane. At the very least, level 2 up and Pure, so the hook can have some follow-through, but you will really want the value point on Flesh Heap. Like, the damage output from Tomato early on, even with just multi-shot, is phenomenal when there's nothing else blocking it. And Whitemon's been pretty heads up with getting the chase down with that slow on the rocket flare and the battery assault to line up. Well, just gonna be happy enough farming. Quite lining up. I think you are happy that Nightfall is getting a lot more in the lane with that relief from Toronto Tokyo, so even if Pure is off to a slower start up top with a couple of kills being bled off, your Morphling is, again, kind of free farming. No contestation at all.
No, certainly not. That's the thing for Nightfall, like, they haven't really brought anyone out to help Kasane down to this bottom lane. They're still running the tri-lane, which is... It's questionable to say the least right now. Kasane, though, at least has a creep wave coming towards him underneath that tier 1 tower, but Toronto's level 2, so he could think about diving. Here comes Ari. Ari will eventually TP down to the bottom lane to ensure the Enigma can farm this wave. Toronto immediately just drops the tombstone. No hesitation. Just basically telling Kasane, you are not farming this wave. This wave is mine. That's really upsetting though. Like all those creeps just going into the tier 1. No, Ari, he does drag it. Very smart from the back.
Yeah, does manage to give a little bit of recovery, but Toronto Tokyo's not shoved away. He does have 2 mangoes. So he's just looking to steal even more strength. One more steal with a blood grenade might actually net him a kill here as well. Have to be a little bit cautious. Nightfall just gonna have to wait for those creep waves to equalize. Up top again.
Whitemon finding himself in danger. Nice cogs. We'll get out. Tomato trying for a chase onto Save, but the slows were just not high enough. Save is okay to walk out of that. It's the thing for the clockwork. Like, if you do get caught in that scenario, the Conk's pushback is always going to be your way out. Just needs to break the initial gap against himself and Pure, and he should be just fine. Bottom? Well, maybe they try to get a little bit aggressive onto Nightfall, but he's still pretty damn healthy. Has plenty of strength to morph.
Has room to grow, and they do manage to get a flank here from Whitemon. See if they manage to catch out.
To Whitemon, taking him from the backside. Toronto's going to be the big target. He doesn't have a cooldown, or rather a tombstone available right now. It is on cooldown. Toronto, though, still walking, finally goes down. Almost had another decay. I'm on in the meantime.
Radiant's courier.
What that was about from Whitemon, just TPing right in front of Nightfall, does get stuck. Meanwhile, top lane Pure goes down apparently. Tomato finds it.
Just a bit too far forward, diving pretty far back, trying to find some pressure. Pudge already off to a slower start than you'd expect. I suppose we could try to take a look at the mid while we've got some time. Haven't been able to talk about this Puck versus Snap. And so far, GPK's done a great job of managing this lane. And he's just managed to stand back, not really cop too much harassment out from Bryle, equalize in terms of CS. So in an even start, this can be a little bit more awkward for Snapfire. It's not as easy going to look for the Mortimer's Kisses play without the support rotation. You've got the mini stun coming through, the interrupt from the Dream Coil that makes that a really hard prospect as well for Bryle. I think this is a good foundation for BBT to launch off of. If they can get PK fine, it's fine.
He is fine. Bryle, on the other hand, he'll also be fine. The save, messing around. Whitemon, walk in, nice deny on the Invis rune, does make sure Bryle cannot pick it up. Of course, Whitemon unable to really punish save very much here on the techies. Meanwhile, Toronto's going to show up in the mid lane now, so just 6 heroes in the mid lane, casually. Ensuring that both mid laners remain safe. Probably the one lane that's gone pretty even between the two, I think. So they will try again on GPK. GPK avoiding the kisses, gets a coil off, still in trouble though. GPK, can he actually find a way out? It seems like he probably can.
Oh.
GPK, he's done it again. Whitemon needs to get out, but Pure's going to cut him off. My goodness, that one's going to hurt TSM.
Dire's top
That
tower
is
under
not a
attack.
good feeling to have here. TSM, they commit a lot on that chase. They get the kisses off from Bryle, and they don't even find a single kill. Like that's good dancing around here from BBT. Again, it's not easy to pin down the puck with your supports. You're gonna have to really combo well, and they're trying to play without the level 6s up, with no lasso threat, with no hook shot, and the cogs pushback. It just seems a little bit optimistic in trying to make these moves onto GPK instead of trying to leverage it onto side lanes. Nightfall could be an easier target to go for. Pure has already had a bit of a rougher start. Instead, focusing mid does cost them, and BBT, they're going to be more than happy with that pickup. GPK again off to a fantastic start, working into the Witchblade. It's smoke out now with Toronto, Tokyo, and Save here.
They can find smoke broken by Ari, so Ari may just get caught. Toronto and Save will move in. GPK joining in just in case. He's not really required, I don't think. Though Ari is trying to juke away, might make it as well. Save. He still has the blast off. He just hasn't used it yet. I think he might actually be out of range now, but he does go for the reactive taser. Back in vision of Ari, they are diving so damn deep. Save. Blast off finally comes out. There's no punishment, but for diving that deep, they'll get away with it.
It's, you know, you could argue it's space for TSM with these two supports caught out elsewhere. You are starting to, again, leverage this space quite nicely on Tomato. His lane matchup against a Pudge solo is really manageable for the Drow. Kasane as well has been managing to leech off in his lane quite nicely. The Dominator not too far off. Does have level 6, but did go for a 3-3-0 though.
Sane. See daisies. Awkward situation here for our offlane Enigma. He is going to go down. Maybe top lane they could try to find Pure, but Pure, realizing they're all missing, just backs off. They are going to scout him out with the rocket flare now, but you haven't even got a hook shot yet on Whitemon. He's still level 4.
Radiant's top
Pure's just
tower
kind of dance
is under
circles
attack.
around them. While Whitemon are looking, Pure might look for a hook very soon.
Dire's
Luckily for
structures are
the
fortified.
TSM, he is lacking vision on that high ground.
Radiant structures
Down towards the
are
bottom lane, Whitemon, Arne, they're all going to TP down bottom. There's no tombstone up on Toronto. They may not need it really, as Whitemon's going to get scouted by Save. Whitemon will try and go for the chase. Won't be able to do too much to the clock. They will at least force them back. So the tier 1 bottom tower will not.
Yeah, and again, this is good space. Like, you're Your win condition, the Drow is farming up freely. Tomato is going for the Dragonlance into Ags here. So wants that Hypothermia early to deal with that Morphling, which is a very good solution in this core to core matchup. Again, this is somewhat in line with how TSM loves to play, just falling back, relying on Tomato, getting some space out for him. You're still getting some ramp up here for Bryle. The Ato is not too far off, just lacking the crown at this point, it does look like. Once you can get that going on the snap, some solo setup could be massive. Some way of stably holding down GPK from Fog is going to start to line up these kills. And it's been a much more quiet game for Pure. Now his Pudge has been off to a slower start. He is just farming up the top jungle, so he's not able to have as much impact as he'd want. Just trying to work his way into the blink, where things will start to be more comfy for that hero. But this dead period, it doesn't necessarily give an advantage to either side, but it does mean that TSM has more room, and again, that's already a big improvement from game 1.
Another smoke rotation from GPK and Save. Down towards the bottom lane, they really want that tier 1 tower. Tomato's still freely farming uncontested. Mind you, he has 4 heroes around that area. It's like he's pretty well protected in case they do try to make a jump. In fact, they're looking to go on Pure, perhaps. But Wymon still doesn't have the hook shot, so there's no initiation. He'll get the tier 1 at least. Bottom lane, Kasane may just get caught with his pants down as he's dead. Wymon gonna show up last second, can't do anything to help. But at least he can soak XP here and get level 6.
Try to work your way, you really need that hook shot. You just don't have a gap close. Like, all you have is hook shot and this blink from Ahri down the line. Once that's up, you can start to get some more play. Without it, then you're just kind of sitting around on your hands waiting for someone to overstep their bounds, which BBT will not do. Time to group around mid. Kisses are still ready on Bryle.
Mid lane, Oil was committed first by GPK. He's still gonna make the jump in. Waning Rift is there. GPK actually
Nothing
juking and
lands.
jiving does get out. The lasso not able to get there as the silence was out from GPK.
Yeah. Silence is there, he dodges out the gust. Everything out from TSM, just no hard control. And you really need Whitemon with a hook. If you can even land that, I feel like GPK can dodge that. A good phase shift as well.
Just give him, like, let him farm a camp.
Radiant are
He's so close.
Getting nothing.
Yeah, they're gonna try again.
They got scanned.
They got scanned, yeah. Observer Ward down. He can't initiate anyway. Cogs are out. When you've got Kasane with the black hole around the corner, Bryle was just going to leave the area. Wymon's going to die.
Middle tower is under attack.
Oh, I'm just... Let him farm the level 6. It's just one camp. Anything.
Yeah. This is really awkward. And the TSM, I like that they're trying to be aggressive, but they don't have the tools. And now look, BBT, they're the ones smoked up.
Ahri's caught by himself, top lane, so they know the Batrider's gone now. The TSM, they are certainly stacked up together in the triangle. BBT trying to find a way in safely. They'll move in, but it is a bit too late to the party, as everyone does leave now after taking the camps. Oh, they might find a Drought Courier. It has a point booster on it, but they let it go. Instead, they want Kasane's life, and they are going to take Kasane's life. There is no escape for the poor Enigma. None.
There's no play. And not the hardest Enigma game in the world for the Black Hole kind of gameplay, but we're not going to be seeing any sort of jump in yet from Kasane, as he is still waiting for the full Overlord as well. They have level 6 in Whitemon. It's finally happened. 14 minutes in, 13 minutes and 40 seconds in. They've got the hook shot. Maybe you can get something out. And respawns aren't too long.
They got Save. That's a start. Save gets caught. Lasso as well. Just in case.
Dire's middle tower is under
He did have Blast Off, to be fair, though. I don't think he would have casted it with the Battery Assault.
Yeah. Just a little bit tougher to try to bail out. A good pick off to find for TSM. But at least something going your way now with this early activity you're emphasizing. Having Brawl around for the kill as well. Just helps accelerate that farm. Ato's up and running on a snap. Hiss is still ready to go. And a ton of space for Tomato. Still number 1 in net worth on the Drow. 2 parts away from that full Ags. And once that's going, that's around the time you want to see TSM take more fights. Now, it should also align with Ahri's Blink, which is only 50 gold away, and there it is. So you have play on TSM. You've got this aggression that can come through early You need to put a stop to Nightfall, because even while Timato's ahead, Nightfall's not too far behind. It does become a concern as to how you hold down this Morphling. Whether or not that Hyperthermia really will be enough in terms of finding that Morphling and taking away the regen. And again, even if you're banking on late game scaling here for TSM, with something like, say, the Blink BKB Black Hole and Kasane, you have Pudge with Blink Dismember, and you have a Tombstone, which is so weird to say it's a save mechanic, but there you go. It is a save mechanic up against that Enigma.
Running right into Pure, it seems. Pure gonna get spot. Oh, Ari? Oh, he has no lasso.
No.
Even Ari forgot he had no lasso. It was on a 3-second cooldown when he blinked in. Oh, that's just nerves getting to you now. Hookshot out. Toronto, Tokyo. Getting into the Flesh Golem at least, but should go down. So a nice start for TSM, but in goes the blast off from Save. They've got the Snapfire. Ryle for now going to be okay, but dropping rather low as they will turn back in onto the techies. And now the lasso. They've got the puck, and they'll commit the Black Hole for this. No hesitation for Kasane. I'm using this Black Hole, he says. That's a good team fight. A 3-0.
Maybe a little bit greedier from BBT to try and chase down after losing Toronto Tokyo, feeling they've got the turnaround, but they don't respect that control coming in. And the fact that you didn't use Lasso earlier does end up necking you the bigger kill in the puck. Good punishment onto GPK. And 9-9, TSM fighting back, evening out the game. No net worth advantage coming out for either side. That's really significant. You do have the Ags early on for Pure. More damage coming through with a Rod. No blink to gap. Whoa.
Right on target. Right on target from Pure with the hook shot from Whitemon. Make it a little bit hard for Pure to finish off the kill. Thing is, Pure is still just kind of trying to man up through this, but he's going to drop. He's down. The TSM, they're doing the classic just play as 5. You know, if we can't survive alone, just play as a unit. And it kind of works, as they get Pure.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You're feeling confident. I mean, he has that full Ags up. It's just not enough protection from the physical output of the Drow. He only has the +2 armor plus the Vanguard block. Not quite enough to deal with Timato and the marksmanship. They show up, they've got the magical damage, they've got the physical damage, and BBT just gets punished again. For the side of BBT, the one big thing is Nightfall has a pretty free game. Manta style flying out for the Morphling next, so the Gust not going to be a massive issue. The Malefice as well, not going to be as reliable in trying to keep down that Morph. Timato has the full Ags up.
So, they've got the Morphling. Oh, they've got the Morphling. Nightfall is down. BBT, I mean, they're dropping the ball here, John. There've been a few pretty big pickoffs coming out for TSM, and BBT, I mean, I know they're a great team, but they've got to be careful.
They do. Starting to lag a little bit behind. Still on to Nightfall. He's the guy that was given the most space. Highest net worth here from BBT to just drop solo. TSM. And you just can't underestimate this court 4. Like, the Drow does feel good up against Morphling. You just pierce through the natural Agi armor he has. Not going to care for that base armor at all. Hyperthermia in play now as well, so the HP regen not going to feel amazing. You've got the scalability. On Snap, you've got this team fight on the Enigma. There's outplay for sure on BBT, but have to be cautious. They'll try for a smoke plate assaults here.
They will. Right towards Whitemon. They're going to see the clock work. Toronto, Tokyo get started, but a nice hook shot from Whitemon. Force GPK back, actually draining a lot of his mana already. GPK not going to bother trying to orb forward. TSM, they should know that the BBT are around here, so they might want to try and force a fight, or maybe just go top where Pure is alone. Ryo will TP up there. Everyone else from TSM is going to stick around this bottom side of the map. Pure will TP into the mid-tier 2 tower rather. Try and perhaps rejoin his team. While BBT are pushing through the bottom lane, it seems. Nightfall, Pure, they're together. Nightfall's going to be scouted by Ari. Hook was on target, but a nice blink away from Ari. Going to make sure he gets out. It was kind of just dancing around each other at the moment.
BBT probably more than happy to dodge some of these wider fights. The cores are just not ready. It's a little bit of a slower draft in terms of that build up here, considering how the lanes did go out. TSM's tri lane did manage to find some good punishment onto Pure. You could argue it's also been a slow game for Kasane, but it's an enigma. All you're looking for is just to use Malefice onto someone to try to run down, and eventually, if the game permits, to look for a black hole to hold at least one. If you can hold the puck or the morph, you tend to be very happy in this kind of game here for Kasane. And for the side of BBT, I mean, you just need more time. No Nightfall trying to go for the Ags. You've got Pure who needs a BKB and Blink. At that point, the Pudge starts to become pretty hard to deal with. Roche is something BBT will try to take, though. No vision in the area from TSM. Got some decent enough early damage coming out from Nightfall, so can get this done, but if the side of TSM reads this, black hole in such a tight area, so much control and damage here if you're not careful.
We're gonna get hit soon enough though, right? Like Roshan's already less than half HP. TSM, they're hesitating a little bit. They're waiting for Brawl to come in with the TP onto the creeps, but it might just be too late, and it is. To be fair, it seems like they may not have even known because there was no rocket flares coming from Whitemon. Now there will be onto the twin gates. Maybe they can find Pure, but no, he TPs away. So BBT, they kind of get away with murder here. PPK has been left behind. Whitemon maybe has a bit of a look, but no. He's given up. PPK is going to be fine. Instead, down towards the bottom tier 2 tower.
They've got a lot of push. Full Overload done. Overlord done on Kasane, and just with a Drow. This doesn't take too long onto the objectives. You'll be able to find a tier 2 perhaps in exchange aside of BBT just going all across the map, not finding any pickoffs off the back of that instant Aegis. And the map control is in the favor of TSM now. They'll have at least one lane constantly shoved out. They've got good forward wards down bot. Keep an eye on the jungle. Are they really tempting high ground? No, they pull back. It's a little bit risky, but if you find an opening somehow with a good hook or a good lasso out, that can become a reality if you're not too careful on BBT.
Ari, we'd love a lasso. They get the opportunity.
Radiant are scanning.
In mid lane, Pure's going to reveal himself. Ari, with no hesitation, will blink in for a lasso attempt. Pure, though, a bit tanky, will survive as now the hook comes in. Kasane still holding onto the black hole, won't throw it out, and now it does. It has only caught Pure, and Pure's been pushed out by the cogs. Well, what was that? Nightfall now, jumping in, finding Tomato. They've got the Drow down. Kasane not able to TP either. Pure's watching. Ryle will drop. The punch survives. What was that? The black hole came out, John. The cogs was pushing him around. It was a mess.
Yeah, that's a complete mess for TSM. I like the confidence. I like that understanding that they've got this really good team fight, but they jump in. They don't manage to pull back Pudge fast enough. You have to remember, he has Ags upgraded Rot with a Rot slow talent. There was no distance at all created by Ari without something like the Force Staff or a BKB. He just doesn't really get any distance out. So they're forced to commit even further onto the big tanky front line of BBT.
I could save. Okay, will be out. Lost has been committed. Hookshot in as well. They've actually got both supports now. Toronto and Save both getting caught with the reactive taser. They make it a little bit hard. Whitemon gonna have to die, and now so will Ari.
Oh no.
I mean, it started off nice, but they just didn't have the follow-up core to get the real damage up.
And this is where it gets scary. All of a sudden, BBT comes out with 7k lead with these pickoffs and that massive team fight. That's a huge commitment out from TSM. And even trying to catch Pure, right? You jump in, it's the Ags Rot with the added slow. But even then, he had Aegis on Pure. Like, he committed Black Hole. Even if you found that initial kill on Pure, I don't know if you have enough for the second. With everyone else collapsing on top. And with 8k, 7k lead coming out, I mean, you're in a really happy position for BBT. Full Ags up on Nightfall. Yeah, the Morphling Ags was nerfed down. But you still have a lot of utility coming in. Like, stealing attack speed from a Drow is pretty massive. Whenever that multi-shot is down, here it just feels really awkward without that right-click damage coming true. So Nightfall has a steady target to turn into. And I know, like, this game doesn't simplify for TSM as the time goes on. It gets pretty even. I think both sides scale pretty nicely. At the same time, it is execution heavy on TSM, and from what we saw in mid, it's a lot harder to pull that execution off up against a team like BBT.
Momentum will be taken down by BBT. We'll get that for no problems, Toronto. Oh, here we go. The save is up.
Here we go.
Grab by light.
Yeah.
It is now available. I've got
I
a change, Jonathan. If you get grab allied by Tombstone, theoretically, I think you should come back out as a zombie. And you can't control yourself. You just the next. Hold on a minute. Bot lane. Oh.
No, the hook missed.
Little GPK. I mean, you could black hole. No, the black hole's on cooldown. GPK. He's still gonna die. It's okay. They'll get him. It just didn't look good. It wasn't clean.
It looked like it could have gone away if GPK just managed to maybe turn around and blink. Didn't have to blink forward there for the much more instantaneous response. Tips come out from save. It's stall out for time. It's information. He's copying.
BBT look like they're having a good time. That's kind of the thing. Like this game too. Like couple moments like Ari blinks in with that lasso, that kind of moment where the hookshot gets missed or gets blocked. Like there's definitely a lot of pressure on TSM for sure this game too. You can feel it the way they're playing. BBT on the other hand, no matter how far they fall behind, obviously being already first place in their groups, they don't really care. They're cool.
Yeah, they're cool. They would still love a win. I think just overall, as a team, I feel like they've got that competitive spirit in them. They would more than anything else just want to prove a point. I think we're talking about, all of these misses from TSM, all of that pressure. That's not what you want to see when your lineup is just so execution heavy, when every one of your spells has to be layered just right, when the coordination has to be on point. So we need to see that tighten up a little bit more. Calm the nerves down. Right, to get this ship sailing smoothly as inside of BBT, they're going for a smoke play, a long wraparound.
Hook shot, Whitemon, he's got GPK again. Lasso will lock him down long enough. This time they don't miss the hook.
Comes through. Whitemon does manage to nail it. And that could be their opening onto maybe a little bit of a high ground threat for BBT. They did reveal that smoke. They broke it out on Nightfall, so not going to pursue too hard. 5k lead still stands for BBT, and TSM not looking to necessarily pressure high ground just yet. They don't want that full committal. They might wait out the next Aegis. We'll see in about a minute 40 how long that Aegis will take to come back. But again, BBT, with all of that space, Nightfall's still feeling great. Once he has this BKB up in the Morphling, your only concern will be that black hole from Kasane. And even then, I'm not sure if that's a concern. As long as Toronto Tokyo is alive. No? Very nice spell. Grab ally.
That is very true. 7.5 minutes into the game. TSM are going to group up again. Just a little bit. Keeping that bot wave pushed out as TSM. That'll keep GPK around this area, though GPK might be getting a little bit of PTSD in this position. Scan out behind GPK so they'll know that the puck is not alone this time. Immediately TSM will try to retreat. They've bought enough time for Kasane to have the BKB up, and I know you've already talked about the saves. At least it's harder to cancel the black hole now. Mind you, we haven't really seen many black holes to be fair, but it is now harder to cancel them.
You could always blink this member from behind, right? There is that. Maybe a little bit trickier. Pure will have to finagle his way around that one, but still feasible. If not, just convoluted.
Roshan's going to be the next play for BBT. They're just waiting for the to see if the respawn's going to be early. 10 seconds till we find out. TSM on the other hand, grouping up in the mid lane might force a smoke. Knowing that the Roshan timer should be coming sometime soon, and it's going to be 40 seconds away, so it's not too bad. It's all about holding this top corner of the map position for BBT now, and TSM, they've got to get there. Surely you don't want to give this away for free.
You can't. Maybe they want to try to gun for a tier 2, force a response out. BBT just mass gate once more across. They could try a flank if they were feeling adventurous here.
It seems like they're going to try. Get vision around the area. I mean, to be fair, TSM are leading themselves to that area of the map. BBT, they'll move up to the north. They will find Ari on the Bat Rider. So that's going to be one being picked off. Ryle will throw out the kisses. This is very preemptive, considering Roshan is now officially available. And so with Ari down, BBT, do you go through the bot lane or do you go to Roshan? It seems like Roshan will be the idea.
Looks like it
Maybe.
should be. Got control over that gate. They can just make their way down. They don't have the vision spam that you have here on Whitemon. If you just scouts out the Roche, they should know the next play. And for now, not forcing the issue too bad. It is daytime, so Roche will just wander across, take a bit of a jog through the map. That is an opportunity for TSM. Respawn is coming out for Ari. And Black Hole again ready for Sane with a BKB.
The rocket flare was there in time this time at least, so they know it's happening. Problem is it's happening a lot faster than last time. And it's basically just gone. Like, they'll realize now they don't have the time for this. BBT now, certainly looking to go through the bottom lane. Really much in the way of stopping them. TSM, they're still very strong on their own side of things, but you are so reliant on some great initiations. And we haven't seen that game-changing black hole yet from Kasane yet either. Well, he's been looking, but has not come out yet. If they try to venture in the dire triangle, BBT they'll hold out and instead they'll go to the right side of the map. Take the other high ground. Nobody's defending the T2 tower yet. TSM are just casually waiting. They'll throw the Drow illusions in first. Rocket Flare will give the vision over BBT. It seems like TSM are leaving the area. I don't think they feel quite safe here.
It is risky. They know where the side of BBT are hanging around. They're not letting go of that position. They might just surrender to tier 2 here. We've got one outer tower left. That is the case. High ground can begin in earnest here for BBT though. They've got the damage with Nightfall. You aren't quite at your level 20 talent as well for Bryle. They're starting to build into the Chrysalis. Perhaps that full Daedalus comes out. And only one level away, so not too far off. But have to watch yourself.
Radiant's top
You
tower
got it.
is under attack.
Won't go high ground yet. BBT, they're going to retreat. Looks to maybe go through the top lane, it seems. Wisdom runes. Lines were drawn towards the bottom lane, but they don't go that way. TSM, however, they're moving back towards this Radiant. They'll see my Nightfall does still have the Aegis up, so it's a little bit challenging to try and start with him.
Radiant
Ari is moving out though with a lasso available. Pop the drums of Toronto and just run. The boots are bearing. No messing around. Seems like they just don't want to be around this area. TSM grouped up as 5, but won't find the initiation. They'll just hold out. And BBT, they're going to smoke up as 4 now. They'll wrap around the other side of the dire triangle. Ari is there to break the smoke, but he's not quite within range. Ryle, he's a big target. Tomato gets you really want to just hang underneath that tier 2. But to be fair, they probably are very concerned about where the Enigma is to boot, but here they go. Onto Prowl, they've got the Snapfire to start. Lasso, Black Hole, they've got 2 targets with that, but the Dismember from Q are going to save. The Black Hole does nothing. Ryle is down. They'll go for more. Income save. The Sane will drop. Hook shot is there, I suppose, but it does nothing. Whitemon will need to retreat, but a hook. Pure.
Oh my god.
Mid-cogs pushback, he gets the hook. That's stylish.
Just ridiculous.
That is very stylish.
Managed to clear out the Aegis. That's something, but they commit Black Hole. You don't have the lasso, a high ground.
Glacier. Look at that, John. The Glacier's here.
Yeah, and that shard is pretty good, but I do believe it is slightly bugged. If I recall right, so it's not a guarantee. But yeah, Rax just set the fall, and you can't stop Nightfall. Yeah, without that Black Hole, it just doesn't feel like this team fight's going to be that easy to pull off. Respawns aren't too far off though, and the side of BBT will respect those shorter respawns. Will take what they can get, reset, keep this farm game going. No rush for the side of BBT. And TSM, it looked alright, but the saves being on hand for that Black Hole. And mind you, Pure was playing on the edge of the Black Hole. He was actually looking for that Dismember play. Just had it on cooldown as he used it to clip Bryle. So, they've got the idea as to what to do up against that BKB, and it gets scary for TSM. Again, still the same story for this game as it has been for the past almost 15 minutes. Very execution heavy with this draft. And we're seeing some signs of that execution come in, but not enough to make it smooth going here for TSM.
I love the fact that this Toronto Tokyo Undying always ends up with 3 Wraith bands. Can I just say?
Yeah. It's a smart build.
It really is.
It's just so efficient with armor. I mean, you just get so much armor from it. As a support.
Wait,
like,
you do this in your
no
pub,
other support probably do this.
Yeah, you do this in your pub, you're gonna get raged at. But it's actually really good. Like plus 12 armor. But for the cost is amazing.
It is. I
One
mean,
with the
you
rest
have
of
all
the
your utility on save anyway.
Yeah.
Save is the guy to Force Staff and Glimmer Cape. US Toronto Tokyo, you have one job. Blink, Tombstone. That's it.
It's quite literally it. Level 20, you have I suppose your second job is to just die after that. And you have your Tombstone on Death Town. If he
True.
goes for that, maybe.
I feel like picking a talent for you expecting to die is... You know, it's not something that feels great. I don't think Toronto expects to die anyway. He has 3 deaths this game. So the decay is probably a lot more impactful. Because he's just not going to die. He's not thinking that he'll die. If you never die, you never use the talent.
It's the caster curse. You are. He was taking no damage, now he is. Pure.
What?
What's he stuck on?
He was stuck on the Tombstone. He wasn't... He was BKB.
He was stuck on the Tombstone!
He couldn't go in because he was debuff immune? Is that it?
What is this?
He was targeted.
Radiant's top tower
He was targeted by the Tombstone.
So hold on, if you get targeted while you're BKB'd, you just get stuck. That's how it works.
That is so weird.
That's amazing. That's a new way to grief your team members, ladies and gentlemen. Toronto, or here's another way to grief them, I suppose. Black holes out from Kasane.
No one.
Nobody. Yeah, he caught air. Very, very good. In case they needed oxygen. They've got it now. In goes the Enigma. Out he goes as well. Kasane's down. Tomato in TP away. No, he's not going to make it.
Just not yet.
Mike.
Well, I mean, what's happening? The Pure gets stuck on tombstones. We whiff black holes. Toronto just blinks blindly into the high ground. Suddenly TSM are down 2 heroes. Make that 3 in just a moment. Ari, he'll have the blink up. He's okay.
That is... I don't know. I'm still bothered.
You just said Toronto couldn't die, by the way, John. You did it.
I mean,
That was your
well,
fault.
yeah. You also didn't expect to grief Pure. So... I mean, you look at hover over Tombstone here, Mr. Eason. It does not pierce debuff immune, so I suppose that's it.
Is that the nerf? That's the way you play around it. That's Icefrog's way of nerfing Tombstone grab ally. Just if they're BKB, screw them up.
It doesn't work for debuff immunity, so you just get stuck.
I mean, it doesn't work.
It was precisely on him, right? I wasn't crazy. When Pure died, the Tombstone was right there as a marker. It's a preemptive Tombstone, I suppose, for his actual death there for Pure. That is so silly. I want to see that in the highlights for some. It's just you don't expect it. You're like, all right, Toronto Tokyo got the save. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He got the grief. Wait, is there a chance Pure disabled unit help on his highlights? Did he disable help? It'd be one thing as well.
Surely.
Probably the BKB, right? Surely the BKB.
I mean, he got stuck. I thought it was the glacier for a second, to be honest. I thought, oh, they built the glacier. Look at this. Amazing. Oh, goodness. Anyway, it happened. 12k advantage still for BBT. 39 minutes in. GPK. Oh, Tomato. Could be a very awkward time to show himself, but the jump is not there yet. GPK was waiting patiently, and now he's found himself. He gets one Dream Coil. They'll force him out. The Manta dodge on the 4-staff was pretty sick.
Yep. Cut their losses. Dream Coil not the longest cooldown, especially that Oct Green up on GPK. So not hurting too bad. About to hit that level 25 as well. With the Dream Coil piercing debuff immunity. TSM smoked up here. Have to
Every
find
time you
that
say
angle.
piercing debuff immunity now, I'm just gonna laugh about Pure every single time. TSM.
Are scanning.
Yeah, they tried to smoke. John Ari almost died smoking because his mind's in the ground. Smoke or not, I mean, they know you're there. No point trying to hide now, TSM. They know exactly where you are. But then again, the rocket flare does scout BBT out as well. Roshan now has officially respawned on the other side of the map.
Radiant's top tower is under
Here he
attack.
comes. You got the Ag's blessing on this, Roshan. Smoke from BBT. We'll wrap around. Sane casually waiting by the Lotus pool. Gonna see Pure jump in onto Whitemon. Sane blinks right away seeing this. Pure in the meantime just taking no damage. Ari will go for the lasso. Who are they actually aiming? A black hole onto save? I mean, they've got the techies, I guess. Toronto, he's also down. Nightfall, he's your big problem though. Whitemon will drop. They've even got GPK, but the Aeon Disc purges off the silence. He's okay. I mean, a solo black hole into save just doesn't feel very good.
That doesn't. Who is Pure holding in right now? Holding someone inside. You held Nightfall, alright. Just a little bit of healing out. The gem was picked up by TSM once more, I believe, and they are still in position to force this fight. No black hole is a little bit awkward. This is already. You can find an angle somehow.
Pretty much the same position now. Just waiting casually for someone to make a move. EPK will start scouting out with the orb. Shadowblade coming out on Nightfall, so almost has the full silver edge up, just about 20 gold away from finishing that up.
Middle tower is under attack.
Smoke broken by GPK immediately onto Ari, so he'll just immediately jaunt away, though Ari is still chasing him down with the Firefly. GPK, juking and jiving, will be okay. Now the coil, locking down the Batrider. Ari, barely surviving, but not for long.
It's a
GPK's
dieback.
got him. That is a dieback. That's a big deal.
That's the gem being handed back as well. Rather unfortunate for the side of TSM.
Look at this, save. He was looking, but he couldn't find the three others. Instead, he'll try onto Brio. Brio popping his BKB. Sane in the meantime jumps in, but has no black hole. He's got nothing to play with unless Nightfall. Oh, Nightfall getting very close to dying. We'll make it out as Save jumps in onto Tomato. Tomato though on the glacier is alright. BPK jumping back into the backside, trying to find the Drow Ranger, but he's going to be okay as Brio is going in on his own, but he is saved, rather has to back off. Pure does save Toronto from the Dismember, or with the Dismember. A very chaotic kind of fight.
Radiant's top tower is under
Only one dying, which was Ari at the start.
It's
Roshan's still waiting.
still waiting. They've got black hole in 20 seconds. TSM. All this stalling is working in their favor. Got that threat to the black hole. Will line up with the BKB as well for Kasane coming back up. BBT not willing to let go of this area. We'll try to take a different angle, different flank here to start this fight.
You say different, I feel like they've done this 3 times now, John. It's BBT.
Radiant are scanning.
Here comes Ari, just making the casual walk back on the Batrider. Like you said, the black hole is now officially back up. Kasane, that's just how long they've been at this bottom side of the map. Roshan does get started by TSM. They've had enough of waiting. Ari, oh, Ari, Ari. There he goes again. Hook. Not going to land on anyone, but now it's a 4v5. Ryle will show himself right in front of the Roshan pit, hoping that Nightfall jumps in, but he'll wait it out. Pure. Oh, he's landed on the hook on the Kasane. He's got the Enigma completely blind. He had no vision. Tomato trying to get out, not gonna make it. I feel like there's gonna be an old tab joke or two there, John. As the full team wipe is out. BBT gonna move on to the Roshan. Full team wipe. That'll be the Axe blessing for somebody. Toronto's gonna take it. Okay. Why not? Or is he gonna hand it to somebody else? I imagine he's gonna hand it over.
No, he eats it.
Oh,
I don't mind that. It's a big one and just dropping down EHP, right? Like 8 strength
Dire's bottom tower
is
under
massive,
attack.
so just want to soft these targets up, get these kills faster. and it works out fine. High ground does begin.
Ari getting caught again. Ari just not able to survive. Every time he respawns, he just dies another time. Down for another 54 seconds. BBT, they'll finish one racks into the second. There is no buyback, so it's very hard to expect a defense from TSM. BBT, even now a hard up on Pure, so he's got about 5k HP on that punch. Mega Creeps will be up very, very soon because Nightfall right in for the jugular. Hip save while he's at it. Tier 4 towers now under siege. TSM one final defense attempt. When I say attempt, I mean they've got to walk in and try.
They need to blink Black Hole. Sani needs to find the biggest one of his life here, somehow. BBT actually respect a bit. Backing off just a tad.
GPK just messing with them. Tier 4 tower is already so low. Korea is... what was that on Brawl? He's got his Demon Edge now, trying to work towards the Daedalus. Still level 23. Not quite near that 25 mark yet. EBT, they'll take the Tormentor in the meantime. There's your full Daedalus. The Savior's going to get a free shot.
This can be nice with Brawl doing this much damage, but honestly, it just doesn't feel like it's enough. You still have to execute here. You can't just out-damage the side of BBT. You need to try to isolate, you need to try to look for these black hole opportunities, get a really good lasso and hook shot out. Everyone has to play their part.
Keep in mind, you literally have 0 buybacks on TSM. Nobody's got buyback available. 150 gold away for Tomato. Hook, not gonna land. Tomato needs this 150 gold if they want to give themselves an actual chance. And he's gonna get it. He's now got the buyback. Hold on the Drow. Happy days. Jump in. EPK again. Will commit the coil. Nightfall, no hesitation with the lasso. Does grab him. Oh, but the grab ally. The Tombstone again. Buying time from Toronto. They'll lock down Nightfall, but it doesn't matter. He just waveforms away. Onto the tier 4 towers he goes. Look, not gonna land. They've got a 1 tier 4 tower now. GPK just continues to mess around with them with this blink in. Sam hoping for a mistake from BBT. You are immediately jumping into 3 targets, not able to find the dismember he really wants next to the hook shot of Whitemon, and now the Black Hole. Kasane, he's locked down 2 of them, but they haven't got the follow-up damage. Nightfall and Pure still alive. Pure finally goes down. Nightfall, maybe he's gone too far. Maybe this time they can get him a second time. Ryle will land the court. No, the Manta dodge. Nightfall's gonna be alright. He jukes out the stun. Tomato's down. He'll buy back immediately. They're still trying to defend this. Toronto, Tokyo. Look how tanky he is. The Ancient's gone. They're too busy hitting Toronto. The tip will come out. Tomato paying his respects to the Morphling, of course. As Nightfall having a fantastic performance here on the Morphling. And I mean, it was BBT. Props to TSM for trying their absolute best till they had literally nothing left. But BBT certainly looking like the best team coming out of Group B.
That they do. And they're number 1 for a reason. And for TSM, this could be the end of their journey here in Riyadh. There are still potential tiebreakers. So there's still a chance Shopify Rebellion also drops 0-2 here to Aster, of course. And that will open up potentially a tiebreaker coming out there. Who knows? It's not in their hands anymore. So it's going to be a little bit rough for the side of TSM. But BBT, and you said it, they had a little bit of fun here in game number 2. We saw some awkward moments there. Apparently targeting your ally with Tombstone with debuff immunity. Maybe that's the bug. Maybe it's just bugged in general. Couldn't right-click into the Tombstone either for Pure, so he's stuck. It's a feature. It's a feature. And at the very least in game 2, TSM had a lot more play. They had more activity. They had a draft that fit their playstyle a lot more. Tomato just trying to farm up on the Drow. Does get big at the end. Brawl has a much more decent time mid. Although that wasn't too bad either for GPK. And this is the one fight you can see. Lasso out onto a punch with Ags with a talent. Like, you just don't get any movement out. Just then the Cox.
That Black Hole was a bit of a weird one. The Cox just pushing him around in the Black Hole, and Pure was just still taking 0 damage. You see the beautiful hook there to cancel the TP of Kasane. So, I mean, I think you've already said this, but TSM not necessarily out of it yet, but they are in a bit of an awkward scenario now because they are reliant on Shopify messing up, I believe, which Aster and Shopify Game 2's happening right now. So there's that.
Ooh. This is spicy.
Yes.
If Shopify does get 2-0'd by Aster, there's a 3-way tie.
There
so Tundra can
100%.
stay in, TSM can stay in, Shopify Rebellion can stay in. So it's going to be spicy. We've got that 3-way tie in Group A for the last upper bracket slot. We've got potentially a 3-way tie for the last lower bracket start on Group
Like
B.
our production teams found every black hole that was in the game to throw into the into the highlight reel, and sadly there hasn't been many good ones. And I just keep seeing misses, just air balls here from our Enigma. Sadly, it was a pretty hard game. But you were saying, John, 3-way tiebreaker, Shopify, TSM Tundra, potentially happen. Yeah.
Yes. So I suppose there's a chance for at least one NA team to go through. Who knows? I mean, if Shopify Rebellion just get one win, we will have one NA team through. So if you don't want ties, Shopify can take a game off of Aster, and that does mean, NA gets to hang on. If not, potentially Tundra could win a tiebreaker. Who knows what happens there? Maybe TSM gets clutch again. But BBT, you're seeing again the reason why they're number one. It begs the question what happened with that Team Secret series, but that's water under the bridge. It's happened. I'm sure BBT were maybe just underestimating a little bit there, as we can take a look at the highlights overall, right? Like, this is from our last series as well. Team Spirit up against 9 Pandas. Also a riveting matchup. I mean, that game too, where the GGEZs came out for something.
You're too right. Yeah, this is the play of the day, of course, provided by Abdul Latif Jamil Motors, apparently. So happy days there. This was a very, very, very long team fight. This wasn't the one where Kiyotaka was not dying to collapse, but it was a great team fight nonetheless. And I believe this was the fight that really gave Spirit kind of that fighting spirit to make the comeback in that game. Here we go again.
And we've got the Colonel's Choice this time, presented by KFC, of course. This one is as spicy as those 11 herbs here.
9 Pandas, I believe, took this game number 1. I remember correctly. This was a draw series. Team Spirit were unable to make the comeback happen. But yeah, 9 Pandas, another extended kind of team fight here against the side of Team Spirit. You saw just the big jumps in. Ramses in the pos 1, Night Stalker going down. Those are the Brood. Kiyotaka dies. Team Spirit. These guys just never stop fighting. Yeah, Team Spirit, doesn't matter if they have 1 or 5 heroes, they're going.
Yeah. And this is the moment where Team Spirit were starting to get, some of those openings you were expecting from Collapse. Of course, we've got the save of the day presented by Dr. Sulaiman Al-Habib. And I'm keen to see this one. It's not the BKB tomb, unfortunately.
I was going to say, I wish it was the BKB. Here's the hook. Who's getting saved? Is Save saving? Save is caught. Save goes down. I didn't see the save, John. It does. That was saved. I mean, that is the save. Oh, okay. Well, that. Yeah. You see, I'm not smart enough for these jokes, John. There's people in the team, in the production team, shaking their head right now, like, this idiot. He ruined our joke. You ruined everything.
Oh, good job, Mike. That's why we're not getting paid the big bucks. But what a spectacular groups. Again, it's kind of tied in. Those were our last 2 scheduled matches. We do have tiebreakers. I'm not sure how the distribution of that goes. It's 2 3-way ties, potentially, with Group B still hanging in the air. And it should be exciting. Again, these upper bracket starts mean so much. If we could remember the format, like just having an upper bracket start guarantees you a little bit more of a chance to get that bigger prize pool, of course, which is just massive. You're coming out, you're like, well, I guess, I'll be happy no matter what going into TI as well if you manage to go in. So a lot of these teams going to be having a great time and going to be fighting to the death for that, of course. But what a spectacular tournament, Mike. The Riyadh Masters, we've gotten a lot of great games out of this one.
Oh, we certainly have, and it's nowhere near over, Jonathan. Plenty more games to come, and like you said, there's a tiebreaker going on between for Group A. I imagine it's going to probably be on the mainstream, so head over to that. Apart from that, it is MLP Dota, it is John X Fire. It's been a pleasure. Catch you all again next time.